Direct Connection is made by MPT to serve all of our diverse communities and is made possible by the generous support of our members. Thank you. Live from Maryland Public Television, this is Direct Connection with Jeff Salkin.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for tuning in for Direct Connection. We begin tonight with our Your Health segment and a focus on mental health in men. Joining us are Dr. William Reginold, Associate Professor at the University of Maryland School of Medicine and Director of Geriatric Psychiatry at the University of Maryland Medical Center. Also, Donna Jacobs, Senior Vice President of Government Regulatory Affairs and Community Health at the University of Maryland Medical System. Thanks so much to both of you for being with us.
You're welcome. Pleasure to be here.
Are these issues in men, when we're talking about mental health in men, we don't like talking about that because we don't like talking about anything?
Oh, men, yeah, well, yes, especially maybe things that make us look weak. I think, yeah, that is an issue. I think men in general are underserved when it comes to getting help for mental illness. And a lot of it has to do with the culture of masculinity and fear of looking weak, fear of asking for help, and sort of the shame involved with that.
Sure. Ms. Jacobs, you have an event coming up at the end of the month.
We do. On November 28th, we have an event. The topic is called Not All Wounds Are Visible, and it's part of a series that we've been conducting on mental health and substance abuse. This particular one, while there's something for everyone, will focus on men and seniors, and we'll discuss particularly the issues of depression and anxiety.
Your keynote speaker for this event is former Baltimore Ravens great Jamal Lewis, who joins us on the telephone now. Mr. Lewis, thank you for being with us.
Hey, no problem. Thanks for having me.
It's very cool to talk to you, and everybody remembers you as a key part of the Ravens' first Super Bowl win, and maybe would be surprised that you're giving a talk on this topic. What is your message?
Basically that, just in men in general, and, being a football player and growing up, since I was 8 years old playing the game, I think the biggest thing is you always have to be this macho man and this person. And there's a lot of things that go on in athletes, and everybody, but in my case as an athlete, that goes on in your life that you reflect on and that weigh you down from the community that I was brought up in to, just my venturing on into sports and working my way out of my neighborhood and going on to be successful and also deal with the pressures and everything that comes along with that in, keeping your job, trying to stay healthy, trying to save money and take care of your family and things of that nature. And, being, going through concussion issues within the NFL and really how it all brought back everything to the forefront in, my upbringing and depression. And I never really thought about it or even, looked into it. But at the same time, when I was in this state of, my concussion protocol and my concussion, syndrome that I actually had when I got knocked out in a game, which was my final game I ever played, everything just came forward. And I was, forced to go talk to somebody, and it just really helped me overcome and get through, the mental issues and the depression issues that I was having. And
can I ask, were you as a star athlete reluctant to go talk to somebody? I'm thinking, we've just been talking about a lot of men don't like to talk about this stuff. But at the same time, with your experience as an athlete, you had all sorts of injuries, physical injuries that you would get help for. Did you see this as being any different?
It was different. It was a lot different, and that's what I was getting into. It was much different when you have to talk to somebody and you can let off those emotions and you feel comfortable talking to that person. It kind of helped deal with the issues, but at the same time, beforehand, I wouldn't go and talk to anybody about it like if I had an injury, and that's the difference. And I think that's what we're talking about. In men, it's this macho front that you have to put on, but at the same time, you deal with so much that you keep in that you need to let out.
One of the tough things for you, I saw a quote that you gave one interviewer, was just the idea that the cheering stopped. And I guess that happens in everybody's life a little bit as you get older. But in your life, literally people stopped cheering for you, and that changed you a bit.
Yeah, I think that, I was talking about this with somebody else the other day. When you go out and you're at a football game and you have 75,000 people that are cheering for you and rooting you on, and, you get ready to break through there on that long run, and the crowd starts to stand up, and just the energy from that, and to go completely silent, after the game and have to face regular civilian life and adapt to that, it's totally different when you have to go out and structure your own life and do things different, and you don't have that great applause or that crowd that's backing you when you're trying to go in with your job and go sell, so you don't have that, and it's something that you're used to.
The great Raven star Jamal Lewis joining us on the phone, keynoting this event coming up. We'll have more information for people on that. But, sir, we just want to thank you for your time, let you know that everybody around these parts is still cheering for you, and we look forward to your speech. Jamal Lewis, thank you very much.
Hey, I appreciate it. Go Ravens.
Yeah, thank you, sir. So these issues different in men than women?
Yeah, they are different. I think a lot of people suffer with depression and anxiety. About 1 in 5 people will suffer depression in their lifetime. About 1 in 3 people will suffer an anxiety disorder. But the rates of diagnosis in women are about twice that of men. And there are probably a lot of reasons for that. And one is the under-recognition and the men's reluctance to ask for help. But I think also the way we screen for depression is an issue as well. Sometimes what we often see as a typical depression is not sometimes the way some men express it. So men may express it more with anger, rage, substance use, lots of irritability, more so than women, who may express it a little bit more traditionally with sadness, tearfulness. And so sometimes it's under-recognized not only by the men themselves, but the people who might pick it up, family members around them, health professionals.
And Donna, listening to Jamal, which was great, just a terrific advertisement for the event, which is free.
The event is absolutely free, and we call it a community conversation. It really is for the layperson to be able to come and talk to professionals about the issues that they or family members may be having. One of the things he said was finding yourself alone. And we have learned through this series that our participants, people who come as audience members, get the most out of the discussions from people who've gone through the experience that we're talking about. And so this time, in addition to Jamal Lewis, we also have 4 other men who thankfully have come forward and want to share their stories about their bouts with depression, anxiety, and then their road to recovery. And they're everyday lay people. One is a writer, one is an attorney, one is a school administrator, and another one works in communications. But they want to talk about their reluctance at first to step forward and say, I think there's something wrong, but the relief that they've gotten once they've said, yes, I need some help, and have moved forward.
Let me remind our viewers, if you have a question about mental health in men or women, I suppose, give us a call. We'll have the number up on the screen. You can also email us a question. The email address is livequestions@mpt.org. Well, why does the medical system do these events? You're a busy place.
We are, but there are a lot of people that we see coming through the doors, coming through the emergency room, or even on an inpatient basis, who have an overlay of depression or some other form of mental illness, which impacts their ability to take care of the chronic disease or the other issue that they may be coming to see us for. We've done some analyses in various communities, and we see a much higher prevalence of people who have a somatic disease, something that's physically an ailment, but also have an overlay of a mental illness that they need help with.
Is there any data to support that our part of the country, our part of the state, has a bigger problem with these issues? Baltimore is a city.
Yeah, I don't think so. If you look
universal.
it's universal. There are some, there's some interesting patterns. I mean, there's been an increase in suicide, fairly dramatic, 30% over the past 16 years or so. That's happened in Maryland as well, and yet Maryland does not have one of the highest suicide rates in the country. Part of it, there are a lot of reasons for it. One reason perhaps is gun control laws, for instance. Very high percentage of suicides, over half, are due to guns. And a lot of states with very lax gun control laws, unfortunately, have higher suicide rates. So that's a major factor.
But guns have been available, for a long time in a lot of ways in this country. What would account for this getting worse?
That's a good question. Probably a lot of factors. I don't think anybody knows the answer, but over the years, I think there's been a decline in a lot of protective factors. So increased divorce rates, people becoming less religious in a communal sense, less tied to their faith as a way of getting together with other people. So more social isolation, I think. Okay. That is a factor that I think everybody pretty much agrees on. I can't say that's the factor, however.
Let's take a phone call. Anne Arundel County, this is Steve. Steve, thank you for calling. Go ahead.
Yeah, we talk about anxiety. We talk about depression. I've suffered some with bipolar, and I would say that the biggest problem to find is to recognize that as a man, but even a woman. And the biggest problem is to find a qualified doctor that can, help you overcome that. I think it's a real big problem. There's not enough out there. And luckily, I found a good doctor in Annapolis. And I won't mention his name unless you want me to. But I think that's a big problem, is finding the right qualified person that can help you through medication and things of that nature.
Steve,
help you get through it and live a normal life.
Sir, that was a great phone call and great point. We very much appreciate it. How do you find the right person?
Yeah, I think he's right. It can be difficult. There is a shortage of mental health professionals. I think, going to your primary care doctor and getting perhaps treatment there first, because it's accessible, and if you need to be referred on, perhaps through your primary care doctor. But finding a person that you connect with, that you trust, can be challenging. I'm glad this caller was able to do that.
On a system-wide level, the amount of need, the number of patients who need help versus the number of practitioners and the amount of time they have.
On a statewide level, it's an issue, as Dr. Reginald says. Across our system, we have some of the hospitals that have more mental health professionals than others. Certainly the University of Maryland Medical Center would have more, being the largest and being an academic medical facility. But we also have physicians up in Harford County, Baltimore Washington Medical Center that provide professionals on a regular basis. But the point about seeing your primary care physician first is critical. And we also need primary care physicians to have a bit of knowledge about mental health and mental illness.
Let's take a phone call. Baltimore County, this is Greg. Thank you for calling. Go ahead.
Yeah, hi.
Hi.
I was listening to the previous caller, and I echo his comments. It's very hard to find a good talk therapist. I've been a stay-at-home dad for over 20 years. I left my career to take care of my autistic son.
Wow.
And it's challenging as a man, because when I first did it, there's all these groups for mommies and little kids, and when I started doing it, I didn't quite fit in. And then I've noticed too with support groups, it's funny, they mostly meet in the evening and stuff, and when you have a disabled kid, it's very hard to get that group support. And so I didn't know, I've looked for support groups during the day, and it's very hard to find. So I don't know, and I've even searched churches for, different kinds of Bible studies and things, but they're all in the evening. So I don't know if you addressed that or ever thought of that. Most of them seem to be for women, and, I just didn't know if that mattered or not.
Great points. Greg, glad you called. Thank you very much. Thoughts on availability of talk therapy broadly and groups in particular? It was interesting because the first caller mentioned medical therapy,
right?
Finding the right drug.
Right.
This gentleman sees value in talk therapy.
Yeah.
You see both.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And the combination, depending on what you need, some people can do fine with simply talk therapy. Other people need medication, and many people need both. Finding a talk therapist can be tricky. A lot of insurances don't pay for it, for instance. Many times you have to pay out of pocket. So it's challenging for people. And then if you live in a remote area especially, it can be very challenging. Lately, our department's got into telepsychiatry as a way of trying to reach out to some of the rural areas in Maryland. Finding the right group, I sympathize with him. I'm sure that it is difficult to find groups that fit his needs.
Here's a tough question. If this time of year families are together more, and if somebody sees troubling signs, and it could be a friend, could be a family member, what do you do? I mean, how do you intervene safely, effectively, in what way? What have you seen that's successful?
I mean, it really depends on how urgent it is. Obviously, if you think somebody is, sort of an immediate danger to themselves or other people, then calling 911, getting the police involved. But if it's something not that urgent, then it's a matter of trying to, gain their confidence and their trust so that they can listen to you and take your advice. That's very important. You kind of have to get a sense for what they're going through in their own words and try to interpret it in a way that can help them. Sometimes that means referring them to a therapist. Sometimes it means escorting them to an emergency room. And sometimes it means refer to a mental health professional. It really depends on the individual and what they're presenting.
And we talked earlier about the resistance that men may have to open up, to let anyone see any dents in the armor.
Well, I'm heartened by the fact that the first two calls already have been from men. That's good, but you're right. Men are taught not to lean into their feelings and certainly do not want to succumb to the stigma associated with mental illness, would rather keep quiet about what they may be experiencing, suffer in silence.
Anne Arundel County, this is George. George, thank you for calling. Go ahead.
Thank you. I'm curious to know whether, since there is established here a center for men, is that because the genders have different problems, or is it more that the approach of the treatment is different?
Thanks very much. And it's not a particular institution focused on men, it's an event.
It's an event.
Right.
It's a conversation that day with professionals talking about various aspects of depression and anxiety, focusing on men, and the participants that I mentioned, speakers who are coming to talk about their particular experiences. So this is a one-day event in a series of many with that focus.
How do you help people at this event who are going to want some sort of follow-up? You're going to have a bunch of people who are going to want appointments or something further.
You're absolutely right. It's a great question. So there's great opportunity built into each session for questions to be asked and answered. In addition, we have vendors. So I should say the main event is downtown in Baltimore across from the University of Maryland Medical Center.
Right.
But we're also live streaming to others of our locations across the state. We also, at the medical center and other locations, will have vendors who provide direct services available to be able to talk to people and address their needs so that you can get some follow-up immediately.
I do love the idea. As you said, we had a couple of callers who have dealt with issues and are doing well. So I want to end this on a brief note of optimism. What would you say?
Well, what I'd say is that anxiety and depression are very treatable. Obviously you have to ask for help to get treatment, but a lot of people succeed in living more fulfilled lives getting treatment. And the caller brought up an interesting point. He thought we had a center for men's mental health. In fact, we don't. I'm not aware of a center for men's mental health. There are centers for women's mental health out there. It's interesting. And I think
maybe an opportunity.
Yeah,
we do have to leave it there.
Yeah.
Dr. Reginald, Ms. Jacobs, thank you for your time.
You're welcome.
We appreciate it. When we come back, remembering our veterans on this special day.
Are you turning 70 and a half this year? If so, you generally have to start spending down your retirement account. Even the minimum distribution can place you in a sticky situation. Luckily, you can now use your IRA to make tax-free gifts. Gifts up to $100,000 will never count as income, but always make a difference. That's icing on the cake.
Make your gift for this year before December 31st. Visit mpt.org/support.
This is a box that showed you a world beyond your own. It was just a box, but the world has changed, and so have we. And now the box can be almost any size or shape. And you decide what you want to explore. Anytime, any place. Break out of the box with PBS.
It's a beautiful day in this neighborhood.
We are the curious.
Wow!
The adventurous.
Oh!
Grrr.
Those venturing out for the first time.
And those who've never lost our sense of wonder.
Whoa! You seen this?
We are the hungry.
The strong.
I must be the greatest!
The joyful.
A happy little cloud.
We believe there is always more we can uncover.
More we can explore.
We believe in the capacity for goodness.
And the potential for greatness.
The torch has been passed to a new generation of Americans.
PBS.
PBS.
In our Salute to Veterans segment, as part of Veterans Day, we meet a disabled veteran who has made it his life's mission to give back and make a difference in many lives. Nancy Amata visited him at his home in Bowie.
For Vietnam veteran Jack Farley,
life's different, but it's up to me what kind of life it is.
That has been the driving force behind his life. A good life, he admits. When he lost his leg during combat in Vietnam, he never imagined that decades later he would be teaching adaptive skiing in Aspen, Colorado to people just like him.
That's the beauty of this whole idea. Wow, I can do this. All the limitations you have with only one leg are gone. Because the only limitation you have is gravity once you learn how to ski and balance.
Farley isn't just a decorated war vet with 4 Bronze Star Awards and 2 Purple Hearts. He's also completed the Marine Corps Marathon 6 times on a hand cycle with wounded warriors from Iraq and Afghanistan. But perhaps his proudest accomplishment is helping start an amputee peer program at Walter Reed.
It became basically a life's work.
For 10 years, he helped train amputees like himself to come into Walter Reed and interact with injured soldiers who were dealing with their new reality. He says their most important task was simply to listen.
You let them go at their own pace. To me, the way to open those conversations has always been, what got you? How'd you get hit? When'd you get hit? And you get them talking about themselves, what were you doing when you were hit? Because they're all proud of what they were doing and of their buddies that they're with. Once you start that, then you start getting in and listening to what they're really concerned about or what their fears are.
In 1989, Farley was confirmed as a judge for the U.S. Court of Appeals for veterans claims. Over the next 22 years, he would hear cases brought forth by veterans who disagreed with the decisions made by the Veterans Administration.
Before the court was created in 1989, veterans had no recourse outside of the VA's decision on their claims.
Judge Farley's job was to independently review if the VA made an accurate decision on people's claims. So what kind of cases are we talking about?
Veteran says, I have a disability and it's worth 100%. The VA agrees, yes, you have a service-connected disability, but we only give it a 30% rating. Or what you have is not connected to your service. So you get severity, you get the service connection issue.
He says his experience as a veteran and amputee surprisingly played no role in how he ruled on the bench.
I decide based on what the law is and what the facts are. And I apply the law to the facts.
Even if he doesn't agree with the law.
But I've had a couple cases where I could say, this is the dumbest law I've ever seen. Congress should not have meant this. I hope they will look at it again and change it. But meanwhile, I have to apply it, and this veteran loses.
That's hard.
But a number of times, Congress has changed the law in a number of my decisions, which was really, that was always a great feeling.
While Judge Farley has heard a lot of frustration with the VA.
What do you do? How do you solve it? I've stopped critiquing the VA for the simple reason that I don't have a brilliant solution to how you solve the VA's problems.
Now retired, perhaps Farley's greatest contribution to veterans today is simply giving hope and leading by example as a disabled war vet who has thrived.
Family was a huge part. Religion was maybe even a bigger part.
And given back, serving far beyond his years in combat.
Nancy, thank you. Coming up Thursday at 7, what's new at Baltimore's Inner Harbor Skating Rink? Now, for all of us at MPT, thanks for watching and have a good night.
Your health segments are a co-production of Maryland Public Television and the University of Maryland Medical System.
This program was made by MPT to serve all of our diverse communities.